item is our guest, and welcome to all of you. Does anybody have anything to say? Robert, don't disappoint me.
Yeah, I do. I hate to say anything because I don't want to get on the naughty list, but
hey, you don't get off of it. So.
exactly. So why worry? Yeah, I've heard through the grapevine or the irrigation canal that there's going to be some more changes or rules or whatever to our community ditches, and you know, you've got some pretty good language in there now.
I'm not aware of any of that, Robert. Do you know anything? Kathy would know more about that than anybody.
That's what people have told me.
You need to quit listening to the gossip.
Okay, maybe I do, but you've got good language in there, and if you're gonna have some meeting, maybe have a steering committee or something, because the language you got, if you're on the naughty list like I am, unfortunately your staff, they go 180 degrees of what your practice and procedures tells them just to punish us. So, but if they're gonna have something like that, open it up for our input. And you know, maybe you could get Orlando or somebody, but it's a bone under my butt the way the school districts, supposed farmers, put 4 feet of water on their fields. I've got one next to me, and all I've got is, all he's growing is mosquitoes. I hate to tell them that, but you know, you can't say people are retarded nowadays, but they need an education.
You get good luck with the school districts and the mosquitoes, okay? That's a no-win deal.
You know, but, okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Anybody else have anything to say? Well, that's a piece of cake there now. Okay, the minutes of July 12th are in your packet. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Haven't heard none. I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Larry makes a motion. George seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay. Lisa?
No, sir, nothing today.
You don't have anything? At this time?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mary, you're on. Oh, you already knew that.
Yes,
You're always ahead of me, Mary.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Our first report is our investment. At this time, we do have a security that will mature next month in September. At that time, we'll review our accounts, our balances, and see if we need to go ahead and reinvest. The CDs are, the securities are still at a high rate. At this moment, the 6 months at 5.5 and the 12 month is at 5.35.
You know, that's really amazing. It really is. I mean, you don't get that from the local bank, I promise. We don't. You might, because you got to take an account up there, but wow, that is amazing. Good job on that. We won't even need to collect taxes next year just because of the interest. Right?
Because of the interest, correct.
Yeah, good luck.
The following is our balance sheet report. Do you all have any questions?
Art's not here.
Yeah.
Any of you guys have any questions? I don't know. Move along, then, if there ain't nobody.
The next is our net revenue. At this time, we are doing very well in our revenue side. We're up about 150% on collections above our budget.
Very good. And what was that exactly? It had something to do with the...
Our 3 major accounts are due to the use fees, the license fees, and as well as the third-party contract.
And then the third party was the biggie, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. What was the difference in the budget? What changed? Bring me up to date, because they used more water last year.
We settled at a rate of 3 acre feet for this year. Yes, as well as we do have additional payments received on the last contract for our drain maintenance. For the annual maintenance lease fee on that was received this year, this is the last year, as well as the drain.
Okay, so it's our new deal that we did. I wasn't sure whether it came into play this year or next year, but that's good. Okay, so that makes it more steady from now on. Every year is about the same. We don't have this fluctuation. Right?
We're
We haven't
still
done
in
the 10-year.
negotiations.
Yeah, we haven't done the 10-year average this year because we started in May and our cost of water was kind of delayed. So they're like, let's just go this 1 year. So we collected 4.4 million off the 3 acre feet. And
So we still haven't signed the contract?
no, we haven't done the 10-year running cumulative average. So hopefully starting this coming year.
Do you see any problems with that happening? I think that's a good thing for everybody.
I think so as well, yeah, and they thought so too, that they just, they were trying to ramp up and receive the water, and they got in a little bit late, so they're like, yeah, that's fine, we'll pay the 4.4, and then we'll go on that 10
It
years.
sure makes it a whole lot easier to budget when you know the
Yes.
figure.
Hey, that's exactly what they said as well, so
Yeah, I'll
should be good.
Sorry, man.
I have a question, Mary. Right, back to the balance sheet, under 11620's grants receivable. Would that be current or is that long-term?
This invoice receivable is for last year. It's funds that we need to draw this year on the Riverside grant.
Is there anything that's keeping us from receiving it?
We're still in the process of catching up and filing the reports that need to be
Just the
submitted.
paperwork to catch up?
Yes,
We've done the
correct.
work, we just need to get paid.
Yes, yes, sir. Any further questions on the net revenue? We will move on to our $500 check report.
Number 7 stands out, 42,000. That was for that, I guess, Pete.
Yeah, that's for for stock, that's pipe that we keep at the Fabian's yard for any kind of culverts that collapse or, so our stock was running real low. So we went ahead and ordered pretty much all sizes, 24, 18, 30s. It's all corrugated metal pipe.
They've been on back order, well, the shipping, well, the production, like everything else, so.
What has it?
We got a good portion in, so yeah, that's how we.
And I actually ran out of 24-inch,
I know where you're coming from.
I ran out of 24-inch pipe, so.
Sometimes you need this, yeah.
Yeah.
Something fails, so they keep a supply on hand,
Yes.
Right.
and it's been hard to do. But
Yes.
now you got restocked, which is.
Yes.
We didn't have any order to break the problems. You have to lunch both ways, right?
Yeah.
And
How about number 44?
before we go there, same thing, on that, what account did it go to? Is it like maintenance, canals, or
Where's the what, I'm sorry?
what account does this go to? I mean, it's not a grant or anything like that? It's
No,
just
that's part of the
specifically for irrigation purposes, right?
It's,
water distribution.
Part of the
Goes
water
into the
distribution expenses, yes.
Yeah, it's just the functioning of the.
It goes to inventory and then it gets assigned to jobs as it's used.
Yeah.
So if we use it on a reimbursable, we get paid back for it, but it goes into inventory.
Gotcha.
Scared me. I didn't know you were here. You're on. We won't say anything ugly about you unless you're on.
Yeah, number 44. That's a Ventura electric crane.
That's a crane that went in back of one of the service trucks, and I do have a picture of it. And that's actually on the service trucks, so whenever they go out there and do any kind of, let's say a tire replacement on these big tractors, that crane is used to load them on the truck and to unload them. And in fact, it was funny because there was actually a tire on the truck this morning.
Yeah,
And you'll see a picture of it here.
okay. That's great.
Going back one page, I might have asked you this before, Pete. On number 13, filters for mowers, and we're at $4,000. What-
Yes.
Are they, all our mowers hydraulic, or are they? Oh, they have those,
This actually consists of, and I have a PO here, it actually consists of cat filters, the filter kits for the full services, crankcase filters, fuel filters, AC filters, air filters, transmission filters, oil, and primary. So it is quite a few filters.
Okay, not just for the mowers.
No, it's quite a few.
Okay, I was gonna say mowers.
There's some for the
Yeah.
fuel, some for
Okay,
the
so it's
dash.
filters.
They're for, yeah, all the tractors, all the John Deere. yeah.
Or John Deere tractors.
On number 45, did we have a problem here with electrical? This is the main office, so electrical something.
We added some electrical outlets around the building facility, and then we swapped out all the outside lights to LEDs. The wall mounts around the building, and then the light posts as well.
Well, yeah, the ones in the front, so all we're lacking is the ones in the back.
Yeah,
Switch them out to LED, they're brighter and consume less
Oh, yeah, that's a
electricity.
good
So,
thing.
yeah, we did
Right
some
there.
upgrades. They're, 14 years old, so, yeah, we swapped them off from the original one. Yeah,
Good investment.
And we did have 3 quotes, and this was the, around the general area, but this was the lowest one.
Any other questions? Look at the July credit card report, I'm not sure what Robert spent $45 on, but I'm gonna And that's worth spending it on. And then the legal and consulting budget, which dropped considerably after they quit having to do so much to Renee dismay. But it'll pick back up, we're already into the process of doing a lot more, so got some deadlines to meet. Any questions of that? I'm sorry. No. Thank you, Mary.
Thank
As
you.
always, great work.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We have no adjustments this month. Kind of simple for us. So we have the second review of the El Paso City Public Service Board and Lower Valley. We got a few contracts last month in June, PSB, but they've been kind of slow on giving us the leases this month. And then we did receive 13 from Lower Valley. Nothing major. And in July, we haven't received any more this month. Then we have our tax suits. Our balance is still $92,241 with 28 cents. 254. And last report will be our percentage. We're a little behind from last year, but our collections haven't. They've been steady. We're just a little behind
It's
from
not
last
much,
year.
so that's good.
Yes. And that's pretty much it for me. No adjustments, that's pretty much it for me, no adjustments.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Anybody have any questions?
Nothing, no, we were kind of boring this month.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it is, yes, it
That's
is.
good.
Yes, it is.
Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Sonia.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Okay, Jim, your report.
Okay, I just had one item, so we had a Lineberger on the agenda for our tax attorneys that work with Sonia and tax collection and deficient taxes. And they requested to table this item, they'll come in next month. There was some additional language that we need to include on the agenda. We got a 5-year contract with them, and it was in 2018. 2020, the state had a bill, 2286, HB 2286, so the law changed, so we need to add some additional language when we post for renewal. So They forgot to send that to us, so we'll table this and.
So it's a 5-year contract.
Yes, a 5 years, so we'll have it on the agenda next month. And,
Alright.
yeah, that's it, we've got some grant stuff, Renee and I, later on the agenda.
Any questions to Jay, anything else? All right, Dr. Blair, since we know you're there, you're on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna, I think you guys see that graph on the computer screen on the
Yes.
TV? Pretty much the snow melts over. That's that chart right in the middle. The blue line is the cumulative inflow to the reservoir. So the steep part of that line is when we're moving water from upstream. There's some additional flood water that was retained in Albuquerque and Cochiti. First it was in Abiquiu, then they're going to move it to Cochiti. They'll release that water starting November 1st. So when you see towards the end of this graph, you see this slope where it starts going back up again. That's moving about 100,000 acre feet of water. That the reason they hold it, according to the compact, is so that the middle Rio Grande district can't consume it, so they don't divert it and take it. So we hold it until there's no irrigation demand, and then it's November 1st, and then they release it. And they probably can get it down here a little faster than this that I've got on this chart, but we fully expect it all to be received by the end of the year. So that'll be available for next year's allocation on doing that. So it's a very good year. Where the predictions were from last October 31st to the end of the year, to the end of the calendar year, was about 915, and the prediction now is about 910. So it's basically the same number. And it looks very, very likely that we'll get that. And so that's slightly better. I think about 30,000 acre could be better than we had back the last time we got a good runoff, which was 2018 and 19. This is just a summary of where we are. So this is how much the current storage is. We released about that same amount, about 405 so far, with heavy water use and EBID. Allocation balance at the end of the year, that's for us, for the district, so that's our maximum amount. So we'll carry over the maximum amount. We don't anticipate having much transfer, maybe a few thousand acre feet, possibly a little bit more. Just depends on how much water comes in between now and October 31st. Final total amount that we're going to release this year is estimated at 600,000 approximately. And that'll leave about 300 in storage, and then we have that 115,000 or so that are moving down. Plus there'll be some normal runoff that'll end up in the reservoir. All this assumes that we don't have any flood runoff, no monsoon water. This is just base flow. And we may get some monsoon water, which will help out too. And with all that done, I mean, these are all estimates. You can see the only thing that we know is the current storage and the release today. The rest of these are estimates. That the estimated allocation starting March 15th will have 300,000. And then, of course, Robert and I work with our well water and our sewage effluent, and that will put us at a full allocation if all this comes true. And every indication is that it will, but, you know, we're not going to allocate that water until we have it. And so, but I've been telling everybody about this, you know, the whole year that this was going to happen, and the numbers are still matching up. That yeah, there's going to be a full allocation next year. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys might have.
Any questions?
So we'll keep updating those as we do it, and you know, I expect you guys probably will be able to make that allocation in February and get it out, you know, announce it to the farmers fairly early. Unless you guys tell me you want to try to make it earlier, I don't see any reason doing it before January.
No, I think they already know now.
Okay.
What we're looking at, it just isn't official.
Okay, well, that's all the good news. So that's my presentation. Anything else we got to talk about will be in closed session.
Okay.
So Al, we're getting back to our usual schedule, you think? Is that what's happening here?
It's, anticipate Robert will probably talk about that, but it's a little early, but I think we're targeting for next year, a release around March 15th.
That's great, that's great news.
I mean, we have to keep in mind that, we'll be paying for conveyance losses in the river. I don't think, EPAD is gonna go on that early, and so if we go on early, we'll be paying for all the losses in the river, which will consume our water a little faster. And Robert will have to work up a budget. This year, because we came on late, we're going all the way to October 15th. Next year, we may have to start off with a, if we start with March 15th, we may have to target a September 15th shutdown, and then extend that if we get more, as we get more water into the system.
Well, we remember, we gotta get Mexico.
Right now.
We need to get Mexico involved in that, make a lot of difference.
Yes.
In the early release, and I bet they'd be all for it, I would think.
Well, yeah, Mexico doesn't get to carry over water, so their allocation won't be, they may get a full allocation next year, but it'll be later in the year when they get it. So starting off the bat, they may not want to go on with us that early.
Al, how's the update on the ponds?
So that's part of one of the changes you guys had us request of reclamation was there was a engineering study grant that the district had received, but it wasn't focused on what we wanted to focus it, so we refocused it on the ponds so that we could get the seepage test done and some additional environmental work done on those ponds. And so that got approved, last week, Jay?
Yes, August 2nd, last week.
So we've sort of had to, because if I did any of the work, I already did a little bit of work, but I didn't bill you guys for it on it prior to that, but I couldn't bill for any work on the ponds until after that date. Actually, it's today when you guys approve that, accept it.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, so I know that Robert can give you an update that he's been putting, anytime he has any excess water, he's been putting it into the ponds to make sure that they're wet, because when we do the testing, we want it to be, have to have water in it for quite a while. And then Pete could probably talk a little bit. Our plans is twofold. One is if we can get back and get reclamation focused, we're having meetings with them on funding. They offered us a grant of 25% for the construction of the ponds, and that would put 75%. We'd have to come up with it. Jay and I looked at the conditions of the grant and felt the grant was going to increase our cost by about 25%. So, just to make it a federal project, not quite that much, but quite a bit, at least 15. And so, so it didn't make sense to take a grant that after taking the grant increased your cost by 15%, and all you got was 25, and you ended up with about a net benefit of 10. So we were trying to get them to go the other way, where they would pay for 75% of it, and we'd pay for 25. We had done that before with the federal government. Numerous projects in Texas have been that way for years, but we haven't made any progress on that. So we're still working on it. So that means we got to build it ourselves, and if we do that, we're going to have to do, I guess the next thing we'll do is we'll do the pond right next to the cell that's right next to the existing one we renovated. I think, Pete, you talked to him about that last month a little bit about moving, when we have time to move over and start renovating the next cell over. I think it's another 30 acres.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, we got some photos. The one we've been building, the original cell has been completed, so we have.
Or it is complete, right?
Yes, it's been functioning well.
Is there any grant opportunities with the Water Development Board?
Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
For the Water
The Water
Development
Development Board,
for the ponds specifically?
The funding for the Water Development Board didn't get renewed this year, but they're going to try again in 2 more years. And those projects are typically limited to relatively small, like less than 600,000, 300,000 from them, 300 from us. So, we're looking for for a multi-million-dollar grant to renovate it. Right now, the cost estimate is 24 million. And we think that that's probably low because of the increase in due to inflation. But we get set up now that we've got this new grant to pay for some of the engineering. We're looking at going out. You're going to have several things on the agenda over the next months related to the ponds. Looking at hiring a consulting firm to help with the environmental work that the grant will pay for. And that'll also give us some ability to have further discussion on other grants and other sources of money. I mean, the one that we had applied before, which we probably should apply again, is the USDA. They fund projects up to 24 million.
There you go.
All right.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Gee, this is moving wrong fast. All right, Pedro, you're on.
Good morning. There's the crane that we're talking about there.
That's the one you took?
That's the one in the truck. And you can see that, in fact, they just replaced the tire yesterday on it, so.
See, crane, it sounds very, very big and massive.
Yeah, no.
That's like a cherry picker for.
Yeah, it's actually attached on the back of the truck. Now, the cost for this was the installation and everything on it, because there was some modifications that had to be done to the bed of the truck to be able to support the weight.
Well, Al, there's your crane, but
Our
It's on, it's on.
one that I'm sure gets used every day, right?
Yes, it is.
yeah,
It
I would
is.
imagine it.
It's something that, I'd rather spend the money than hurt somebody's back, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's, see the size of the tire.
We didn't have nothing like this before?
We had one that was a lighter weight, Larry, but it just
wouldn't work.
it wouldn't work, no. It actually bent.
It'll free up a backhoe where you don't have to be using that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You don't have any outriggers on that truck? Or
No.
crane?
No.
Is it?
It's got one in the back, right here in the back, you see it?
Yeah, but you don't have one extending out?
No.
Or
No, just the one that's,
that one?
to support that corner, yeah, yes. But it's a pretty, hefty crane there. Or truck.
It's about 1,000-pound tire?
At least, yes, at least. Okay, and then, this ain't on the $500 yet, because Mary hasn't paid on it. I don't think we've gotten an invoice on it yet, but, sorry, Mary.
You took.
Not Mary's fault here, we just haven't gotten an invoice.
You got excited about it, just right?
But I figured we received it, so might as well just,
Did you feel that bump?
So, but we have received this back, we just received it, last week. That's why Mary hasn't paid on it.
Merry Christmas.
Poor Mary.
So, this is the back, so I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing it on, next month.
Mary, what's up with that?
That's a 410 backhoe, it's got the extended hole on it, ditching bucket, it's got the thumb in the back. It's a pretty nice little backhoe. They're the ponds, that's the water Roger's been putting down there. There's muscle metal about a quarter full rubber,
Right.
so,
You gonna stock up with fish?
Yeah.
only the one that comes on the.
Good bad.
And a
Can
picnic
you tell
table?
about the,
No part.
how much it seeps?
We have, I don't think we've tested yet, Johnny, I know that the last time we put some water in there,
Yeah, but it's been so hot, I mean, the evaporation probably outweighs it.
but when we first started, he would put water in, and by the time we put water back in there, it was all gone, so it is seeping pretty good.
Looks nice. Huh?
This grant that we have on the agenda today, Johnny, it's for the Bureau that was awarded last week when we were talking about it, and it's for the environmental and to perform seepage analysis.
Yeah, I understand that, I was just wondering if you could kind of see visually, but it's been so
It's
dang
slowing
hot,
down.
Evaporation maybe
It's slowing
more
down.
than seepage.
Is this
Yeah,
the
it should,
same?
it should see level
Right.
over time.
Sorry.
Go
Was
ahead.
this the same, that grant you mentioned, was that the same grant that we were entertaining the thought of sending it back?
No, that grant was, we did ask in April, sorry, excuses.
Oh, okay.
There was some language, and I guess there was some delays. It should have started on paper January 1st of this year, but it was to do seepage analysis on about 10 different small laterals. So Dr. Blair and I sent a letter to the Bureau in Salt Lake City and requested a change in scope of work to concentrate on and use that. It's 100,000, 50/50, 100,000 Bureau, 100,000 us. So we could change the scope and apply it completely to the ponds, and they accepted it. So, yes, so they changed the grant and the scope of work, and they awarded it to us last week. So that's what.
So that's where it's all kind of into, good deal, good job.
And as far as the pond, as Al was mentioning, the pond next to it, it doesn't need as much work as this one did. There will be some minimal work that needs to be done on it. I just haven't had the chance to go in there and actually do a little bit of digging and removing some of that sand, but I think we can get that one ready pretty quick.
Robert, have they really been helping you and
From this heating we're having right now, Donnie, it's always nice to have that little extra water cushion that in case the farmers need it, you know, it's there, and if we don't, we can go into the pond with it real fast.
so it helps you? I mean, that was always the intent, to have
It does help.
a regulating reservoir, so you've used it as such?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would think it would help a
It's
lot.
just like you were saying, when we first started putting it in there, the seepage in there was just, you put it in there one day, and next day it was gone. But now it's starting to fill up pretty good.
You're getting it back downstream in your wells. You're just recycling it.
Okay, so next, a few pictures are from the drains, and I'll start off with, this are drains within the city of El Paso. And you'll notice right there on that house on the left-hand side, that white house there, that area there looked just like it did down below. And you'll see some pictures here, the way it was before. But this is an area where we tried to go in there and clean it years ago when that drain caught fire. And we were constantly in the news. I don't know if you guys remember, but we were on the news every day where people didn't want us knocking those things down. Well, now it's completely different. Now they want to go. This house here, I got a call that they were getting roots into their swimming pool right in the backyard. I don't think it's this that caused it, but either way, you know, it's beneficial for us to remove it. So that's what it looked before we went in there. Bunch of salt cedars. That's the home that the complaint came from.
Roots in the swimming pool, you said?
Yeah, they said it was going under the rock wall. The swimming pool's right on the other side of the wall. And they were saying that the roots of these trees were going through the wall and it was breaking the concrete of the swimming pool. I don't think that's the case. As you can see, there's pine trees on the wall.
Yeah, it was the
All
pine
right.
trees.
Right.
Probably have more effect like that than that.
Right, so I did tell the lady we're gonna clean it out. I know there's gonna be a catapult effect for, before long, I'm gonna end up cleaning the whole thing. And this is all by the willows.
On the property line, I always go back to property line. That
Yes.
rock wall is not necessarily our property line.
No.
It's-
No, and actually, the property line is, it's inside.
It's
So
inside.
we don't go as far as,
So.
but it's beneficial for us to remove it,
For our
for our operation, yes.
operation.
Yes.
But from a liability standpoint, even if there is roots in that swimming pool,
Right.
that
And I-
tree could be in the.
Yes, and I did meet with the homeowner, and I advised her that we don't own all the way to the rock wall, but since it's for our benefit to remove them, we would remove them, but she needs to handle her end.
Well, is the fencing's not on the property line?
No.
So who owns the property on this side?
I'm pretty sure there's an easement in there. I don't know if it's electric easement or something like that, but I know there's an easement in there. Here we have 120-foot right-of-way, which comes out to Mas o menos about 15 feet from the wall.
So they probably own it, because
They
there's an
probably own it.
easement.
Yes, sir.
So we could ask them to clean up their mess.
We could, I guess.
Your key word is
You want-
that.
It just all depends if you want to go back up to use or not.
We're good neighbors, right?
There's no doubt you could ask.
But that's after it's been completed, so.
Yeah, now you gotta fix where the rainwater will soak through their wall.
Exactly, yes. You know, keep in mind, this is all part of the, what is it, Mary, the 3001 contract with the city of El Paso? Yeah, so this, we are attaching it to that contract.
Okay, good.
Oh, the 31, yeah, 31.
3101, right?
3172, yeah.
So you can only change it. And this is on the drains outside the city limits. You can see, this is a mess of drain right here by Clint. And then, of course, our famous beaver dams. This is down in the, also in the Clint area, right off of Hearing Road.
Carrie.
So this dam here, we broke it, I guess, about 2 months prior to this one here, so.
Yeah, you'll be doing it again if you don't catch the beaver.
Right.
They're pretty proficient at putting it back.
So right now, we're hitting the drains pretty hard, trying to get as much as we can cleaned out, because once we get the water out of our system, all this equipment, I'll be moving it over to a Riverside or New York, everything else, to try to prepare for the water season next year, because I got a real good feeling the Roberts will be running those things to capacity, so.
I think you're probably right.
So this is drain. And of course, our biggest washouts. So this one was also repaired.
I still can't believe we go from ain't that big of a. Yeah. That's what it does.
There's no such thing as gophers.
I can't imagine, it took that to go for a long time to dig that hole.
Yeah.
That big.
And then, of course, with these winds, we've been having a lot of tree problems. This is actually on the Montoya Main. That's what it looks like after we're done. I'll just let this snow there. And this is another problem that just came up. So this pipe is completely corroded. You'll see it here in the next picture. So it's completely gone. I'm having to coordinate with El Paso Electric and County Roads and Bridges. This is over by 1109 in Caseta, over by the port of entry. But there's a telephone pole right at the other end of this. You see it right there. And then we're still hitting the turnouts pretty hard. This turnout here hasn't been, or hadn't been used in over, I'm saying probably about 10 years, Kathy. That's the one on the La Union East. So we had to go in there and, of course, repair it. And this is on the Quemada.
That one that hadn't been used in 10 years, what?
It hadn't been used in quite a while.
What
I
is
think
it?
it's probably been, what, about 10 years, Kathy? The one
What's that irrigate, Pete?
over by, it's pecans and alfalfa over by Vinton, North Vinton.
Was that that one?
Yes.
Where?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
No
It's
water.
right off of North Vinton and
Oh, up in the upper valley.
up in the west side, yes, sir.
And if there's some pecan trees and they hadn't used
Yes.
their turnout?
Were they using
wells? They were just using wells?
I'm assuming they were probably using wells. I know it's a new owner now, right? It's a new owner now, so he's wanting to water again, so we have to go in there and replace actually the pipe.
How many acres does it serve? More or less.
Is it 12?
I think it's about 12.
Say again?
12.
About 12
12
acres.
acres.
It only has one turnout?
One turn. And it comes all the way from La Union East. So we had to replace the pipe under the road. County did pay for the pipe. And then we had to replace the pipe that goes under North Vinton Road, which services the gentleman there.
You haven't used it also.
And then this is over here on the Branch A Wasteway. This is where we actually rerouted the wasteway using one of the farmer's ditches. This happened, what, about 2 years ago, Jay?
Yes,
Más o menos?
Capajón, sí.
Yes, so the problem we're having here is that being used as a wasteway, that turnout was getting completely covered up with sand. That's the turnout he uses to water his pasture. So we went in there and kind of built some sand weirs just to keep the sand from going into his property. Then we're also building up ditch banks. This is actually the riverside.
And you're building up the Guadalupe too, right?
Yes.
We'll be doing a lot up here.
You know, and unfortunately, like the riverside here, we're building up the banks only because we can't dig it out. Because that channel is probably about 3-4 feet deep. And in reality, what we need to do is dig out the channel. But right now with the water in there, we can't do it.
Yeah, it's Lake Riverside, part of it.
Yes.
Wading pond, some of it.
So this is all the riverside. Then we're also removing some of those berms that have built over on the sides, restricting the flow of water. So I've actually got 2 machines out there digging out this riverside.
Well, it'll be a nice day whenever we get that thing cement lined and get the proper flow through there.
Yes. Yes.
That'll help a whole lot.
And you'll see what it looks like after kind of removing berms. Again, I'm pretty sure there's other berms underneath, but we can't see them with the water. And this canal's always full of water, so. And we're digging out some of our ditches. This is actually a concrete tank ditch. As you can see, it's on the Del Monte, but just the sediment that it accumulates is ridiculous. This is the Y303. This one here, for some reason, is a constant problem. We got to do it once a year. And it's just a section of it that maybe a quarter of a mile, I think it's this way.
That's ours? Is that a private ditch?
No, these are ours. This is the Y303 right
It seems
here.
like a small, seems
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, it's one of the smaller canals. This is right off of Worsham. Now this one here, this is the tail end of the barrial. This is actually once was a community ditch. We inherited this some years back. We use it as a wasteway. So therefore, since we use it as a wasteway, we got anything. And unfortunately, you know, the concrete's pretty brittle, so everything has to be done by hand. And it's a pretty lengthy ditch, as you can see.
Where is that?
I'm sorry?
Where is it?
This is right up the street off 1109, off 1110.
Oh.
Just right upstream. This is the tail end of the barrial.
I can show you the aerial.
But you can see it goes all the way around, goes around that little house, and starts right over there where the pole is that over here.
Looks like one of my cement ditches.
And then this is Robert's. That's pretty much all I got. Any questions for me?
Anybody any questions, Pete? Great job as always, Pete. Keep up the work, man.
Thank you, sir.
Pastor Pedro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right, Roberto.
Well, right off the bat, guys, I wanted to talk about cutoff dates because that's one of the things that seems to be lately one of the biggest calls we're getting in. People want to know when we're going to cut off, and I think they're wanting to plant hay and other stuff. So this is kind of the proposal. Bah.
We didn't want to hear what Robert had.
What?
I was trying to,
Thank you.
The last slide.
I was trying to share with that. Oh, wrong computer. Okay.
Like I say, one of the biggest calls that dispatchers are getting right now, and well, everybody in general, is when we're gonna cut off. And I think what they're wanting to know is like when they irrigate their pecans and when they're gonna. A lot of them are planting some alfalfa ready for next year, like you said, Johnny. I think they're looking at a full allotment next year, so they're wanting to plant a lot of hay. So this cutoff date is kind of proposed that the last day for people to order water, generally in all the places, would be October the 6th on a Friday. And we'll have the last small tract on that Sunday. And then we're asking everybody, all the farmers, to be ready by the following Monday, which is the 8th, and hopefully we can get them watered. We have a little mistake there on that.
These are target dates, like.
Yes,
you
yes,
said.
target dates, Johnny.
Depends on your orders, what you have.
That, and plus, a lot of times at this time of the year, the rain kind of affects
That
it a little
depends on
bit.
your order, yeah.
In this target date, but we do have to go to October the 8th because we do have the small track schedule.
Well, there'll still be some return flows to it that time.
Yes, sir. So this is
This
just a
is just,
target
this
date.
is just, excuse me, right, this is just allotment water.
Yes, sir.
There'll be some other water.
It's just allotment of water, and then we're proposing that after we get through with most of the farmers, we can close Caballo on the 13th of October. And we should have everybody out of the way. And we'll end the accounting for 2023 at September the 30th, and then we'll start the accounting for 24 on October the 1st. And then we will stop all deliveries on October the 27th. We're going a week more than last year.
I was gonna ask you, how does this relate to what we've been doing in the past week?
We're almost similar, Johnny, but we're going an extra week on the end of the season. Because last year we ended at October the